What's up guys, this is Miasin. So if you knew me already, you would know that I'm a huge Cyber Dragon fan, probably the #1 out there in the world. I've been playing the deck since 2005, and as a matter of fact, the logo of this channel is a Cybernetic Overflow, and even my first logo was Cyber Dragon Infinity, I think. Or rather, like the Infinity on the artwork of Infinite Impermanence, so it's still Infinity, or whatever. That's the reason why I'm kind of, trying to think which one is it really. But yeah, the new support that we got in Alliance Insight is cool and all. I mean, it's 2 new monsters. The issue is that it doesn't really make the deck go to the next level, I guess you can say. Usually, it's really nice when I get to say, oh, this deck is now tier 1 and stuff. But I can't really cap on this one. Like, obviously, the Cyber Dragon is still, it's still Cyber Dragon. Obviously, it's not gonna be a tier 1 deck with a new support. So yeah, my bad for all my fellow Cyber Dragon fans out there. It's still solid support. It's not great. I would give it like a 4.5 out of 10. There's definitely a lot of room for improvement because it's really just 2 new monsters. The really broken one is once per duel, which is very frustrating because if it was once per turn, my god, then it would have been actually extremely good. And the other one is Cyber Jormungandr, which is kind of like an Exorcister Martha, but really bad, and also it only really searches polarization from your deck or graveyard to hand, which is a card that we're not trying to play. So in other words, it's kind of like as if that card didn't really have that effect, which is very stupid. I don't really understand why Konami does that. With that being said, there are still some nice combos that you can do in Cyber Dragon now, and one thing that I do like and dislike at the same time is the fact that you are now incentivized to play Cyber Dark cards in Cyber Dragon, which was not really the case before, because the ratio of good card to bad card was kind of horrendous, actually. Yeah, you need to play a lot of shit cards in order to make a not really good combo work, but now the deck got drastically better at actually being able to make a board going first, and going second, you have a lot of 1-card OTKs, so it's not really like the good old Cyber Dragon Machine Dupe Turbo deck that you used to play, where you really had to rely on like 2-card combos to kill your opponent. No, don't worry. The deck is much better than that, so Machine Dupe is really just not needed whatsoever, which is really nice. And also, like I said, the deck is way more one-card combo oriented, and you can play a lot of board breakers in the deck or hand traps, but I really do recommend board breakers over hand traps for the most part. Anyways, this video will showcase you guys 2 combos as well as the deck profile, and I will keep making videos on Cyber Dragon, obviously moving forward. This is not going to be the only one featuring the new support, so I will also be making discussion videos and try to figure out what Cyber Dragon really needs to get to the next level. But yeah, before we go any further, you already know the drill. Smash the like and subscribe button. It really motivates me a lot to keep making beautiful Cyber Dragon videos. You already know it. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, so first things first, this is what you can do when you either have Cyber Dark Realm or Cyber Dark Claw to search the realm. So on activation, it searches a Cyber Dark monster from your deck to hand. That is always going to be the the Chimera. And then Chimera is going to be linking off into Knight. And you will be going Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, so send the realm to search the Clockwork Knight. With the Clockwork Knight, yes, of course. And then the Chimera will be sending Cyber Dark Worm. So this is the new monster that you get to actually Foolish with Chimera. And this is something that I think Konami did correctly, because Chimera used to only Foolish irrelevant monsters that do absolutely less than nothing. But now it actually it Foolishes a real monster, because Cyber Dark Worm has a graveyard effect. Not only is it always treated as Cyber Dragon while it is on the field or in the grave, which is interesting because it's not even a Cyber Dragon monster if you remove that continuous effect. And also, if it is in the hand or graveyard and you have another Machine Cyber monster on your field or in your grave, you can send a Cyber Dragon monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard as a cost, and then special summon it, and then you can recycle back a Cyber Spell or Trap from your graveyard to your hand. Unfortunately, for no good reason, this effect is once per duel. I think it should have been once per turn because it is a great effect, but it is not like a super unfair effect. I think Razor Detonator is an unfair effect because you can use it more than once per chain. If Detonator was once per chain, you could argue it's like borderline fair, but still extremely good. But it's not even once per chain. So I really don't understand Konami's card design. Like, they can create a card that can pop 4 cards on the field because, you got Twins of the Eclipse, so you destroy yourself and then it comes back. And then when it comes to Cyber Dark Worm, that effect has to be once per duel? Bruv. Anyways, the worm is going to be Foolishing whatever and then revive itself back, and then also recycle back the realm, which is really just a discard fodder. And then we're going to be using Clockwork Knight to send the worm in order to revive back the Chimera, because that is a very handy effect that you get to actually abuse in this deck, because in other decks it's less relevant. And Chimera is going to be discarding the realm in order to, the Clockwork Knight in order to search Power Bond, and then Clockwork Knight banish itself and discard the realm in order to search Regulus, and we're not going to be summoning it yet. So we go Power Bond to summon the Rampage Dragon, and then Foolish the Hertz and the Core, and then recycle back the Core, normal summon that, and then get your search for the Cyberload Fusion, and then link off into SP Lone Knight. This is very interesting, because Cyberload Fusion can only shuffle back the materials for a for a fusion monster by using the materials from your banished and your field, not from the graveyard. So you're gonna have to go SP to banish your other Cyber Dragon monster, so that now we have 2 Cyber Dragon monsters. This one is not a Cyber Dragon, so you can't use it for Rampage. And then Cyberload is going to be shuffling back those 2 cores, summon another Rampage, and then Rampage Foolish 2 Light Machines, so like Core and Fear, for example, and then Nova recycle back, will revive back the Fear, and then we can make Infinity, and also we got 2 level 4s, so I think you can already see where this is going. Regulus equip back the Hertz, and then overlay for Abyss Dweller. And this is a really nice board of 4 interruptions using a single 1-card combo. You still have 4 other cards in your hand, in a deck that, historically speaking, was abysmal going first. So honestly, this is a step into the right direction. I do like this, it's just that you do have to play some undesirable and some really weird cards in order to make it work, but then again, this is the direction that Konami wants us to take for Cyber Dragon moving forward. Okay, so this combo is actually a little different from the Cyber Dark Realm and Cyber Dark Claw combos, so this is what you can do when you got Core or Emergency. So again, we've got basically 12 1-card starters for the deck now, which means an 85.06% chance, I believe, of drawing one of them going first in an opening hand of 5, and a 90% chance of drawing one of those 12 cards going second in an opening hand of 6, because now the 6th card actually does increase consistency to your deck. But yeah, Core Search the Realm, Realm Search Chimera, and then extra normal summon for the Chimera, and then link off in the Clockwork Knight, send that Realm, search your deck for the Clockwork Knight, off of Clockwork Knight. This never gets old. But yeah, make the SP. You don't have to use SP to banish anything, but sometimes when you want to play around Bestials, you can banish your own Light and Darks, but it's not really relevant. And then yeah, Cyber Dark Worm, revive back, and then recycle back your Realm, discard for the Regulus off of Clockwork Knight, Power Bond into Rampage by banishing the materials. In case you're wondering why we can banish the materials off of Power Bond, it's really just because of Cyber Dark Chimera's effect, and I really do have to explain what this card does, good and bad, because it's really nice that you get to search Power Bond, but you do have to discard a spell or trap, so usually when you're discarding Clockwork Knight, it works in your favor, but sometimes you actually want to keep the Clockwork Knight on the field so that you can make Fortress Dragon, or you can use it as a floodgate against decks like Flunderies. Now, they never summon Winged Beast monsters, they summon Machine monsters, so they do not get to recycle back their Flunderies birds from the banished, which is really nice. And there are some other decks that actually just get crippled by Clockwork Knight, and in tandem with Rivalry of Warlords, it's really nice. But another, I guess, drawback of Cyber Dark Chimera is that you can only use Dragon or Machine Cyber monsters as fusion material this turn after you get to search Power Bond with it. So what this means is that if you're playing the Fiendsmith engine, or if you're playing ABC cards in your deck, you will not be able to either make Necroker Princess, Fiendsmith DS E-Ray, or ABC Dragon Buster, because again, you cannot use anything as fusion material for anything, except if it is a Dragon or Machine Cyber monster. It's really stupid, random ass clause for no good reason, and I'm pretty sure billions of people cheated without even knowing, because they play on Dueling Book, not on Euro Pro, so they don't really remember those kinds of details. But do not get caught off guard at a tournament if someone does try to do something like this against you. Anyways, you're going to be overlaying for Cyber Dragon Nova, and then revive back the Nexture, and then Nexture is going to be reviving back the Cyber Euromungder. And this card is going to be bouncing back your Nova in order to search Polarization, so this is a combo that you only really do if you want to do it, but it's not really needed, and all it really does is add 1 more interruptions. But if you didn't want to do that, then you can just go next turn, revive back the Rampage, send 2 monsters, and then you just don't do this play. So it really just adds the Hausvarog, the Mechanical Dawn. That is even worse than Cyber Jormungandr. What? DB Grinder would have done a worse job than me. Anyways, this is 4 interruptions. Again, just like combo number 1. It's just that instead of having Abyss Dweller, you have this thing that also recycles back Polymerization or Power Bond from your graveyard to your hand on the next standby phase. Very similar to like Predaplant Chimera Flesia, except that it's worse because it recycles back from the graveyard to the hand. I guess sometimes you can kind of argue it's better because you can recycle back your Cyberload Fusion to like keep recycling back your resources over and over, but not really. You're only really doing it once, so... Okay, so this is technically the worst combo out of the 3 because we don't have Realm, we don't have Core, so we only have 1 normal summon, and it has to be on Cyber Dark Chimera. And assuming that you have this and any spell or trap card, which is extremely realistic when you're playing a board breaker approach. If you're playing a hand trap approach, then this is never resolving. It's never activating. That's even worse, actually, because you have the card in your hand, but you can't do anything with it. But yeah, discard your Forbidden Droplet, your Ultimate Slayer, your your triple tactic talent or thrust, whatever, and then search your deck for Power Bond, and then again Clockwork Knight, send the Cyber Dark Worm with the Chimera, and then revive back the Cyber Dark Worm, recycle back your what's-his-face, and then, yeah, by the way, you're sending Hertz off of Cyber Dark Worm this time, and Hertz is going to be searching Cyber Dragon so that you can go Power Bond by using one Cyber Dragon in your hand and the Hertz in your graveyard in order to fuse for that Rampage, which is then sending the next turn as well as the Core. Core can be your follow-up for next turn because you can go Core, Banish, Revive, well, summon the Hertz, and then link off into something, or Crash, and then recycle back your next turn, and then normal summon next turn, revive back the Infinity, absorb something, whatever. You have a couple of options. But yeah, next turn, revive back the Rampage now, and then overlay for Infinity, and then link off into Seeger, Rampage, mill a bunch of cards, and then during the battle phase, this is going to be 12,600 damage and the 25 from Infinity. So yeah, it is the best way to play out the weak one-card combo, that is Cyber Dark, Chimera, and any spell or trap card. Obviously, there's other things that you can do if you're willing to play a lot of shit cards in your deck, but then you're not even playing Cyber Dragon anymore, you're really just playing like a... I don't even know, like a combo pile, but with featuring a lot of bricks in your deck, which is unacceptable. If you do that, you might as well unsubscribe from my channel because I do not approve. Okay, so for the deck profile, again, I'm trying to make this as clean and understandable as possible so that even if you suck at the game and you have no knowledge of Cyber Dragon, it should still make sense to some degree in your mind. So we're playing 3 Cyber Dark Claw. This card is not being played on the Cyber Dark deck, so in other words, the only thing it really does is discard itself to search Cyber Dark Realm. That's it, that's all. It doesn't really do anything else, don't even bother reading it. It really just has like no real effect, unfortunately. Which is very frustrating because it would have been nice if like the Cyber Dark cards that we play are still kind of like Cyber Dark cards where they can still at the very least equip back the Claw so that you can foolish something from the extra deck to the grave. No, that is not happening, unfortunately. So yeah, all it really does is search Realm, but if you really want to, you can main deck one Horizon so that it makes the redundancy in your hands a little less worse, because sometimes you draw like Claw and Realm and you're like, bro, this Claw doesn't do anything. You might as well like search the Horizon, and then Horizon can maybe bait an Ash, and then the Realm resolves, or the other way around, you know, Realm doesn't resolve, and then you go, okay, that's fine. Horizon, search the Core, and then Core, search Emergency, and then, yeah, whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, 3 Claw, 3 Core, obviously, 3 Emergency, your best friends, your best one-card starters, as well as 3 Cyber Dark Realm. So we're playing 12 one-card starters in the deck, and we're playing some baby starters, like Cyber Dark Chimera, which is... It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst, but I don't want to play 3 of that because then I have way too many normal summons and my deck starts being really bad. 2 Hertz, which is also not a good card to draw, actually. It's your only reason why it's a 2 of is because it's like the best card to foolish with Rampage Dragon, so that you either get a search from your deck to your hand for Cyber Dragon, or you get a recycle back of any Cyber Dragon in your graveyard. So Core or Nexter or Fear sometimes, that is not too bad, but apart from that, I'm almost trying to like cut Hertz to 1 in this deck. I have played some regionals with only 1 Hertz, and I've done actually very well with them, so yeah, I mean, with only 1 Hertz, so yeah, it is definitely something that you can look into. Once ever you're Mungder, whatever, there is another philosophy where you actually consider this card to be good in the deck, and you play 3 copies of it, because it can bait an Ash, and then, you know, like these cards start resolving, so that is absolutely respectable. If you think that way, it can work. It's just that you have to build your deck around that philosophy, because I'm not doing that. I'm trying to play as many one-card starters as possible and as many board breakers as possible. So this is the reason why my deck is built like this. And I'm only playing 1 Cyber Dragon because when you think about it, the card does nothing on its own. It's not actually a good card at all. Cyber Jormungandr, it obviously can get negated by Ash. It's not an inherent summon, unfortunately, otherwise it would have been obviously extremely overpowered. But yeah, this card, it's sometimes just gonna get stuck in your hand, it's gonna do nothing. If you only play 1 Cyber Dragon, then this card actually just doesn't resolve because you have to special summon very specifically Cyber Dragon and from your deck. It can't just be, you know, from like your hand, deck, or graveyard. Otherwise, it would have clearly been a 3 of, while Cyber Dragon would have been a 1 of, but yeah, Konami had to like mess this card up as much as possible. I don't understand why. And also, it should have been a Cyber Dragon monster. They did on purpose so that it's a Cyber monster, but it can be normal summoner set, so it's still searchable by Cyber Emergency. And you don't have to play Cyber Repair Plant, obviously, in this deck, so yeah, it's really just off of Emergency that you get to search it. Not even a Hertz recycle back from the graveyard, that's not even gonna work. It does have the defense stat for next turn, but that's also not, like, super relevant. Same thing with Cyber Dark Worm, you're not even trying to, like, revive this card back off of next turn, it makes no sense. Anyways, 1 Fear so that you can make Abyss Dweller going first, as well as, yeah, the 1 Cyber Dark Worm, which is once per duel effect. So freaking stupid, man. Konami, stop doing this. Come on. Start applying this clause on actual unfair cards, like, obviously not Racial Detonator, but like, make it once per chain, and then make this once per turn, like a hard once per turn, and then we're talking. But no, they had to, again, do... freaking Konami had to do Konami things. Anyways, they're on King Regulus, obviously, for your 3 Clockwork Knight. This makes sense. The one of Cybernetic Overflow, so that when you're going first, you can still search it with Cyber Dragon Core. It gets you some defensive options. And Triple Tactic Thrust actually has, at the very least, 1 card to set. And it's a good card overall. Sometimes you break the board at 50%, and then the other 50% is you trying to make a baby board, and you're making Infinity, you're setting Overflow. It's not bad at all, and then your opponent tries to, like, make a follow-up, and then you stop him in his tracks, and then your next turn is gonna be the OTK. So you shouldn't only play, like, board breakers and aggressive cards and, you know, kind of just try to go all in. It's not always gonna work, sometimes it's gonna backfire, so having 1 or 2 defensive cards can definitely be great for you. But yeah, Power Bond, obviously, for your Cyber Dark Chimera, Cyber Load Fusion. Really nice at shuffling back your resources, and it is a card that Fusion summons that can be searched with Cyber Dragon Core, so I really do like this card. I really recommend. And Cyber Load Fusion in tandem with Cybernetic Overflow is really nice, especially if you get to destroy that Cybernetic Overflow when it is activating, so that you also get to search Cyber Load Fusion with it, because that is an effect that not a lot of people know, but that is like one of the best effects of the card. It's actually extremely broken. Because yes, you get to search a Cyber Spell or Trap card from your deck or hand when this card, like if this card on the field is destroyed by card effect, including your own card effect. So my strategy is I used to play cards like Heavy Storm Duster or Never-Ending Fun to destroy myself, and then I search Cyber Load Fusion. Cybernetic Overflow fuels my banish so that I can resolve that Cyber Load Fusion and then just kill my opponent. Yeah, 1 Triple Tactic Talent, 3 Thrust, 3 Ultimate Slayer. Great board breakers, by the way, especially in a Raziel format, so you get to go Ultimate Slayer, send the Aggregator, bounce back the Detonator, negate something else. That's really nice. And also, against everything in general, there's always like one kind of monster card type that you're already playing in your extra deck. Like if you're randomly playing a Synchro deck, then what a coincidence. We're playing Chaos Angel because we're actually trying to Synchro summon it, so it's a good thing. And then obviously the links, then I guess worst case scenario, you get to send like Clockwork Knight or SP, so that at the very least this card can do something. Like it's never just dead in your hand doing nothing, so I really do like this. But yeah, 1 Duster, 2 Lightning Storm, 3 Forbidden Droplet, and that's about it for the board breakers. So like what, 15 board breakers? 16? That's not too bad, because Clockwork Knight is kind of like a semi-engine card and a board breaker at the same time, just because, you know, its searches are Regulus, it is involved in the combo with Clockwork Knight, and also it makes us be able to summon Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon using the opponent's field very, very easily. So yeah, very good card. And for the extra deck double Rampage, 1 Mega Fleet, it's a little less good now that Master Rule 5 is a thing, and Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon actually got better thanks to the Clockwork Knight. For the Xyz monsters, Abyss Dweller, Aggregator, Infinity, Double Nova, Chaos Angel, Typhon, and for the links, Seeger, SPLO Knight, and Clockwork Knight. For the idea section, because this is obviously not a side deck, but yeah, I already talked about Cybernetic Horizon, Machine Dupe is not needed at all, Galaxy Soldier and Repair Plant, not needed, I do not recommend them. Regeki, I guess if you really want this deck to kind of just be like Tenpai Dragon, it could work. And also, like I said, this deck got better at going first, so, you know, that's definitely a possibility. Mind Control and Change of Heart, and you can definitely play a lot of trap cards in your side deck. You can even play cards like Heat Wave. Heat Wave is definitely really nice, especially if people are playing a board breaker approach. That could be nice as well. But yeah, Trap Trick, Ice Dragon's Prison, Heavy Storm Duster, more copies of Overflow with, you know, Trap Trick, that's always nice. Unending Nightmare, Rivalry. Again, I already talked about Rivalry and Clockwork Knight. That is one nasty combo. And then the mirrors, I guess Shadow Imprisoning Mirror for like the dark decks, but it doesn't really make sense because you're playing a lot of dark monsters yourself. This is a light and dark deck, so it gets kind of demolished by Bestials, unfortunately. And finally, Grave of the Super Ancient Organism, because your higher level monsters are... I mean, technically there's like a level 8, but it doesn't really matter too much. Like the most relevant ones that really kill the opponent are level 5, so this card doesn't really affect you too much. So if you play against like Despia or like random BS, this card could be great for you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know how you feel about the new Cyber Dragon support in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.